Hello, hello. Welcome back to our favorite chat room, Little Talks Channel Podcast. I'm Charlie, and I'm here as always with my caffeine fix and my microphone buddy.
Evelyn! Hello, everyone. It's great to have you with us for another dive into an idea that makes us think and, who knows, maybe even smile a little. And before we dive deep into our topic today, I wanted to make a friendly request. If you enjoy our conversations, our ideas, and our virtual coffee, please subscribe to the channel. It's quick and helps us a lot.
And don't forget to activate that one notification bell. This way, you won't miss any of our chats and stay up to date with everything that's going on here. It's like having a reminder from the barista for your fresh coffee every week. And today, Evelyn, we're going to talk about something that is universal, but that sometimes we forget how intense it is. Routine in the day of an elementary school student.
Exactly. Think about it, Charlie. That stage of life where routine is the most important thing, but at the same time, the most challenging. Waking up, brushing teeth, having breakfast, backpack, homework, and all this at 6, 7, or 8 years old. It's a mini daily marathon. Total. And we want to go beyond the agenda. We want to feel the emotion, the light and shadow of this daily routine. The rush in the morning, the noise at recess, the concentration in the classroom, the tiredness at the end of the day.
It's a topic that touches on memories, isn't it? And we know that many of our listeners are parents, educators, or simply remember their own childhood. We want to create a space welcoming for this memory. And to make everything even more interesting and practical, we're going to use today's theme to give some very light and easy English tips for beginners. After all, the school routine is often the first place where this new language enters our lives.
2. Initial conversation, exchanging ideas and personal experiences. Well, Charlie, speaking of routine, what's your first memory to have a routine? In truth, the kind you had to follow whether you liked it or not.
Wow. I think my first memory of a routine is breakfast. My mother had a rule. The uniform could only be worn after of coffee so as not to make a mess, and I always tried to skip coffee. So it was always a little morning argument.
I understand you. Mine was the bedtime. It was 8 p.m. sharp, which for me was torture. But thinking about it, it's incredible how routine, no matter how much we fight it, gives us security, right? Especially for children.
Absolutely. Predictability is a comfort. When you know what to expect, the world seems a less scary place. And in school, this is amplified. Children spend most of their time learning not just about math, but about coexistence and rules.
And then comes the question of language. Think about your beginner's English class. Routine helps a lot. Using the same phrases, the same commands every day, it sticks.
Yes. For example, something super simple, which is what the teacher uses most right away. She says, "Good morning, class. Good morning, class." This is repeated over and over, and the child responds, "Good morning, teacher." It is repetition that creates memory.
Exactly. And the instructions in the room. Phrases like, "Please open your books," "Please open your books," or "Close your notebooks." These are practical commands.
Easy to memorize because they're directly linked to an action that they have to do. It's not just about memorizing random words, it's about learning to act.
But Charlie, it's not all about opening the book, right? Elementary school has moments of pure excitement and chaos. What stood out most for you? Recess?
Recess was the jungle. But what really left its mark on me was the snack time. I remember one time I brought a peanut butter sandwich, and it was the first time I had ever seen that. A colleague, Leo, saw me making a face and gave me a piece of his apple.
How cute! That's when the routine breaks a bit and human connection comes in. It's the pause that becomes history.
And that's exactly what our central story today is about a day when the routine was disrupted and what it taught a student named Lucas. I spoke with his mother and she allowed me to share an excerpt from the diary she kept about her son's first year of school.
I can't wait. True stories always capture our hearts.
3. Main story. The day the pencil disappeared. Today's story is about the Lucas, a 7-year-old boy, in his first full year at the school he calls the Big One. He was, and still is, a child who loved rules. His backpack was packed the night before, everything perfectly organized, crayons by color, markers in their little boxes, a mini adult.
I know Lucas like that. They suffer when the order is changed, right?
Amazing. Routine was his safe haven. It was a Tuesday, the day of art class, Lucas's favorite. The morning routine went perfectly. He ate his toast, 2 slices, no jam, put on his polo shirt, the emblem always straight, and said, "Bye, Mom, at the door. At school, the teacher, Mrs. Helena, began art class with the instruction, "Today we are going to draw our favorite place to play." Lucas took out his impeccable pencil case, and the yellow pencil was gone. It wasn't any yellow. It was the sunset yellow, the only one he used to draw the sun and the characters' smiles. Lucas rummaged in his pencil case, his backpack, his desk. Panic rose. His routine was broken. The order protocol of his failed. He froze. He couldn't draw the sun without the sunset yellow. The other children were already scribbling happily. His silence caught the attention of Mrs. Helena, and she crouched down beside him. "What's wrong, Lucas? What's wrong, Lucas?" she asked, very calmly, as she always did, repeating what they learned in English class. Lucas was almost crying. He managed to answer in Portuguese, but pointing to the empty pencil case. "My yellow pencil is gone." Mrs. Helena smiled. She knew how attached he was to the organization. She didn't reach for the pencil. Instead, she said, pointing to the communal crayon box full of mixed colors, their tips broken and their bodies nibbled, "You can use this one. You can use this one." Lucas grimaced. That wasn't the pencil. Share. The teacher took an orange and an egg yellow pencil from the communal box. She took Lucas's hand and said, "Look, mix the colors. Look, mix the colors." She drew a small circle on the paper using egg yellow. Then she lightly brushed orange over the edge. The result? A warmer, deeper sun. A new yellow. Lucas was fascinated. His sun was now different and, somehow, better. He spent the rest of the class mixing colors, using the borrowed and disorganized pencil. He drew his treehouse, but with blue grass and a purple roof. For the first time, the lack of rule freed him. When the class ended, Mrs. Helena whispered to him as he put away the drawing, "Sometimes
changing the routine brings new ideas. Sometimes changing your routine brings new ideas. The sunset yellow pencil was found by chance the next day in the pocket of the coat he hadn't used in a week. But strangely, Lucas didn't put it back in perfect order. He left it in the communal box next to the broken pencils. The day after this little crisis was the day he made the best drawing of the year.
Oh, wow, Charlie. What a beautiful story. It's so easy for us to relate, isn't it? The attachment to our sunset yellow pencil in adult life, that way we color, which is the only one to do something.
Exactly. The routine, which is so important, can become a cage. And Luke's story shows us that sometimes the error, the disappearance, the mess is the gateway to creativity and, more importantly, to flexibility.
And from a learning perspective, especially a language, this is crucial. What Miss Helena did was show him that there is more than one way of saying or doing things.
Total. She used English in a contextualized and emotional. He did not forget what she said because her sentence was connected to a moment of relief and of discovery for him.
So let's pick up the hook and give our listeners some of these super useful phrases that we hear in beginner English classes, especially when children need to ask for help or participate. These are phrases of survival in the classroom.
Great! Let's go. First, for those who want to ask a simple question, may I go to the restroom? Can I go to the bathroom? The most polite form can be simplified to restroom, please, if it's more urgent. It's a phrase that saves any child's day.
And for when you didn't understand what the teacher said, which is super normal in the beginning, can you repeat, please? Can you repeat that, please? Simple and direct. Another important variation, showing humility. I don't understand. I didn't understand.
And if you need help with something, like the story of Lucas needing a pencil, you can use, can you help me? Can you help me? A universal phrase. And if it's to ask for a loan, something that happens all the time. Can I borrow your pencil? Can I borrow your pencil?
The secret is to focus on these phrases that are tools. They're not random words. They're keys to opening doors of communication in everyday life. And the best part is that when used in school routines, they become more memorable much faster.
Lucas's lesson and Mrs. Helena's lesson is that we don't need to be afraid of get out of line to learn.
Perfect. The fear of making mistakes is what holds us back most when learning a new language. Lucas was afraid of an imperfect drawing. We adults are afraid of imperfect pronunciation.
But his new design, the sun with orange and egg yellow, was better. And our imperfect attempt to speak English is often what connects us in a way more real and human with the other.
5. Conclusion. Reflection and invitation to the next episode. What a journey. The student's routine, after all, is a metaphor for our routine. It's about finding the balance between the order that structures us and the chaos that frees us.
And we learn from Lucas that what lacks, the sunset yellow pencil, is not a problem, but an opportunity. An opportunity to mix colors, to try a new sentence, to create something new and unique.
So, our final invitation today is don't be afraid to mix colors. The next time you are faced with a challenge or need to say something in English and don't know the exact word, remember Mrs. Helena and try to combine what you know.
And to get you started on your adventure, here are 3 more simple phrases to memorize and use in your daily life to get used to the language in a light way. Have a nice day. Have a good day. Perfect for use with colleagues or agents. It's warm.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. To replace our simple thank you and add an extra touch.
And see you later. See you later. A casual and often used farewell.
These are phrases that open doors and bring smiles. Learning a new language begins with human connection and not with grammar.
Exactly. And we want to continue this conversation in our next episode, where we'll talk about the transformative power of speed reading.
Don't miss it. It was a great pleasure to have this coffee and share these ideas with you. I'm Evelyn.
And I'm Charlie.
Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and remember,
Sometimes the best color is the one you have to invent. That's all for today, but stay tuned. Very soon, Evelyn and I will be back with a new and exciting conversation right here on this channel.
A big hug to everyone.
See you later, everyone.
we'll be back really soon.